So it's me again to start. So you have to see my face again, right? Cool. So we're going to continue the restaking part because it's two. So we're going to talk about, all right, Gangnam style. Let's dance. Not really. So open restaking, not open Gangnam style. So what is it? What's an open restaking? Open restaking is really making your capital staked available for others, for the Slashable security, so we can increase the pie and we can share with other people. It's pretty straightforward. You have an LST tokens, you just delegate, and you will earn more money, but you provide a slashing capital for others to slash it. How do we do that? We're going to jump into it, right? So it's called S-lending slashable ETH slice. Right, so LSTs, all looks very good, great, but these are coming very different profile. You know, you have Lido, ST, Coinbase, and God knows, like a lot of other things are coming. So it's all good, but they have different risk profiles. They have different peg, they have different liquidity things you don't know, but they also have different provisions of the bonds and things like that. But from an economic standpoint, you cannot give a unified risk. You need something, a benchmark rate to do that if you want to source this capital for outside. And how do we do it? We have this kETH. kETH is a benchmark rate protocol which is currently on testnet. You can go and test it with getketh.com. It comes with an additional unified rate. So you don't really, if you're holding STETH or RETH, CBETH, you can just go and put it there and you can sleep, with absolute peace of mind. You don't have to worry about your, the peg or is it below or above. You will get your staking returns in ETH. It will redeem it for ETH. That's very important. So you always get ETH back. So that will act as the neutralization, risk neutralization layer for all the LSTs to come into for the reusability. So anyone can basically say that, okay, I want 1,000 ETH. It's kETH. It comes with 4%. You have that one. That's a target rate. And if you slash it, people can just deposit into that pool. Oh, that's super fast. I shouldn't be that fast. Okay, cool. So how does the kETH work? As I said, you can deposit, and all the validators will deposit and will be reused in DeFi. That's the vision, and also be reused in the cloud. Anyone can build a lot of other protocols, which actually happening now. We're gonna show that one, but it's really making things easier and clearer for other integrations. So if you look at the LSTs, a lot of farming protocols are using, but you don't really see an integration for utility. The reason is you want to have underwriting capability for any kind of assets. These are ETH stables. So you need to have the kETH kind of buckets to do that. And it's also like an above network rate, you always earn an average rate of 5%. Currently, if the stake goes up, then it will readjust, but that's the rate. Think it like in a S&P 500 for ETH. Right. So how do we going to make this kETH much more attractive for a unique lending protocol that's called kETH Squared? So you have kETH. You have this kind of additional yield. You're happy there. You want to be more happy. Then what you need to do, you just need to click another button, and then you say like, allow to lending. So you can lend it for other middlewares to borrow from the staking position. And if something goes wrong, the ZKWitness comes in, you will actually take the slashing risk, but you will earn additional income. So hundreds of middlewares can actually borrow from the same pool. It's all automated. It's the same mechanism. And that's a kETH Squared. How does it work? We want to have Vincent on the stage to tell you all about it. Vincent, please.
Thank you. Cool. Thanks, Matt. Hi, my name's Vincent. I'm heading the engineering here at Blockswap. So, yeah, kETH Squared. That's really interesting. Matt mentioned that. So you got two sides. You have lenders and borrowers. So lenders will work in the traditional way. They'll deposit their kETH capital into the kETH Squared lending, and they'll get an LP token back, and they will accrue pro rata earnings as normal. That side of things is very straightforward. On the other side, the borrowing side, so the borrowing is virtual. It's more like you're taking a slashable position. So we'll go into more details there, but you are not necessarily taking you're not taking the kETH out of the K-squared lending. So because of that, the borrowers do not need to put collateral up front in order to do that. Borrowers essentially are getting the slashable security. They're getting a position in which they can do that. There are constraints and restrictions around that, which we'll go into in more detail. But essentially, we're just looking at reusing the staked unit, the kETH, that you can redeem anytime for ETH, regardless of what LST minted the kETH. And we have this new guy that you might not be familiar with, which we've put in between, is the reporter. So validators are staking their kETH in order to accrue and earn more ETH, but they're running software, running middleware for doing that. The reporter is looking at how the middleware is being run by the validators and checking for liveness issues. So is the validator even online at all? Is the validator even running the middleware? And as well as corruption issues. So that is, complete violations of the middleware. It's not being operated. Maybe it's being modified. In any case, the borrower that is, so we also refer to the borrower as a service provider. When they take out a position, they are providing a slashing middleware. So the slashing middleware, what it does is it defines what is a liveness issue, what is a corruption issue, and what is the slashable events that are permitted. So reporters work for the system, and they just go to, when they find violations, they go to the respective borrower and they say, okay, found an issue, can you check this? Middleware will say, yep, no problem, go ahead and slash, right? So reporters will get paid for that in kETH, which, like you said, is a staked ETH unit. So everybody is working with ETH here, right? There's no additional tokens that reporters have to accept. If they like ETH, then that's great. So the key concepts here that I was introducing, that covers the service providers, lenders, and reporters. So, right, this is more information on how the kETH architecture works. We have this SPB, this slashable borrow position. That's what the SBB stands for in the diagram. But the reporters are using a ZK software to actually, when they find the violation, they'll self-attest it, present it to the middleware. That'll get verified, submitted to the contract, and they will get a slice of the earnings of the validator. So basically, validators will, as long as they run the software as expected, the kETH will get streamed to them from the interest payments that the borrowers are paying on the positions that they're taking out. So I think it might be, okay, so this is, okay, we'll get into the slashable borrow position in a second. But so reports are uniquely identified. When a reporter detects an issue, they will go to the middleware and have it verified. The middleware will assign a unique identifier for that reportable event so that it doesn't get reported twice. We want reporters to be paid for the work that they're doing, but not to get paid more than they need to. Like I said before, there are two types of events. You have liveness events, corruption events, and the reporter will ask the middleware to verify that. So there are some interesting dynamics here. What is required for this to work in equilibrium is basically we need lenders on one side, the kETH side, to provide the slashable security for the borrowers in order for them to take out a position that they can slash if they need to do. So if borrowers take out positions and there is not enough lending capacity, then borrowers will have to terminate their positions and maybe come back to the pool, either take out smaller slashing positions or come back later when there's more capacity at stake. So the other side is when so a borrower that is looking for validators to run middleware, if there is some issue on the software, maybe validators are not able to run it. So liveness issues does not necessarily only mean that a validator isn't online, isn't performing its duties. It could be that the software is faulty and it just doesn't run at all. And so that could lead to excessive slashing. It could, it could lead to reporters going, oh, well, all these validators, they're offline, slash them, slash them, slash them, slash them, right? But you're actually not reflecting the true reality. So there are circuit breakers in place that will say, okay, well, when you get to 30% of the outstanding interest just in slashing, the position will get terminated. And liquidated. So there's no point in running it. The software needs to be fixed, and then we need to start again. So those circuit breakers are there to protect the lending pool from being drained unnecessarily. Right. So how does a slashable borrow position get calculated? You're the borrower. You're taking out a position. Obviously, you're not going to receive any kETH, but you receive the ability to slash kETH if the software that you've asked validators to run is not being run as expected. So how much you need to pay interest payment to the lenders in order to do this. So how much you pay depends on some variables. So there is a base interest payment. So the base interest payment is derived from utility. How much capital is being utilized at the moment. So the higher the utility, the higher the interest rate that borrowers are going to have to pay. So that forms your base interest payment. And then as a borrower, when you're asking people to run your middleware, you're going to say to them, well, every time there's a liveness issue, the amount that can be slashed is X amount in kETH. Whenever there's a corruption issue, X amount can be slashed. There are upper bounds on what is possible for both of those values, but and that's controlled by the smart contract really. But the higher, so if you as a borrower define higher slashable events, so you're basically saying per corruption event or liveness event there is a bigger slashable penalty. Then you're basically asking people to run potentially middleware that's more risky than some other borrower. So the interest that you're paying for taking out that position is going to be bigger on the basis of that. And that then forms the payment you need to make. How much you can borrow, because the kETH is not leaving the pool, how much you can borrow will be multiples of what is being lent to the pool. Because if you look at, for example, the Ethereum consensus layer, even though validators are putting 32 ETH stake, whenever there is a penalty applied by the consensus layer, in most cases, the penalty is relatively small compared to the initial stake. If you're offline, you're not going to, start hemorrhaging, 1 ETH at a time. It's going to be small. So you will not. These sort of ad hoc systems are not designed to quickly drain unless there is serious events taking place on the actual network itself. So that's why these parameters have been put in place from a contract perspective. And then borrower will open the position. The interest payment will be paid to the K-squared lending, and it will be dripped to the validators over a specified duration. If you want to increase that position, no problem. If you want to open new ones, bigger ones, again, not a problem. So how do we make this as straightforward as possible for validators? It's very well to create one side of the market, the demand for validators to run middleware, but then how do you get the validators to run the software in the first place? And do that coordination and go around and beg people to do stuff. It's going to be very, very difficult. Validators often do like a really straightforward configuration. If you're using a dApp node, it's just a few clicks here and there, and you're up and running. You're validating whatever network you've chosen. So how do we make this plug and play? So what we want to do is that through MEV+. So MEV+ is a validator proxy software. So it's a validator proxy software that we're going to explain in much more detail in some other sessions. But essentially, it is the validator's access to on and off-chain services. So you might be doing block building, but you might also be doing you might be connecting to K-squared lending as a module. It's very automated. You just subscribe to the services that you're interested in. You might want to run all of the middlewares possible. It's pretty automated. So you just have to activate that module as a validator, and it will start subscribing and running the software that you need to do. And you will receive, because you're part of the K-squared lending pool and you've staked the kETH, you will start seeing a stream of kETH revenue to your validator on top of the base ETH inflation rewards, and so. This is sort of the start and the turning point for additional validator revenue streams with the same cost basis that validators already have today. They're just plugging in a different proxy software, but they're not compromising in the services they currently have access to. It's what they have and more, on-chain, off-chain. So we're going to go into that in a bit more detail. So kETH-wise, so as Matt said, so kETH is on Gorelli. People can test it today. You can deposit STETH, RETH, test their tokens and see how it works in action. Some community that we have is pretty awesome. Within 24 hours of releasing that, community members took it upon themselves to start building stuff, and they created this K black hole, and we have other community members that have built something called compound K staking. So both of which are really interesting. I think on the next slide we have the kHOLE stuff. So this is basically depositing into kETH as well as other farming contracts. Via something called kHOLE, and that is providing discounted. Discounted token for LST deposits. So the kHOLE's taking STETH, RETH, and the other tokens directly, and deploying that into kETH, other farming contracts, and giving people the discount token. So. There's a diagram there as well about arbitraging rocket pool and a few other things. These strategies are very, very composable, and ultimately people really like that because it's a staked ETH unit. If you burn your kETH, you're getting ETH back, right? So you're not exposing yourself to anything in particular. So it just gives people the like an S&P 500 benchmark rate for all staked tokens. So then you don't have to worry about do I like such project over other project? It doesn't really matter because you're going to get ETH in the end. And that's what, that's where all the ETH is coming from. The yield is coming from anyway, consensus layer. So this is just showing a transaction. People are deploying it today on Gorelli, and you're starting to get a feel for what's happening. So. Compound stake. So this is compound staking. So compound staking is really interesting. Like I said, it's another community project that anybody's free to go and explore and delve into. If you go to github.com/stakehouse-dev, you'll be able to see the compound staking there. Compound staking is really interesting. So you can spin up validators for 8 ETH, and you can borrow the other 24 ETH that you need in order to stake with Ethereum deposit contract. You need 32 ETH each time. So this is allowing you to borrow that ETH, the other 24 ETH that you would need for that if you're spending the 8 for each validator. And right now today we were looking, so it's mid-July, and there's an activation queue on the Ethereum consensus layer of 30 plus days. So that's 30 or more days before your validator is attesting, producing blocks, basically making any revenue. It's just idle capital on the beacon chain, doing nothing. So that's an opportunity cost, right? So, compound staking, what it does through the Stakehouse protocol is it allows you to jump the activation queue. So you can get liquid derivative tokens within about 16 hours. You just have to wait for the Ethereum consensus layer fork distance, Once that is complete and the consensus layer has processed the BLS signature and done all the security checks that it needs to do, you can make your tokens liquid. And then you can deposit it into kETH to start yielding. So it's double bubble. So whilst you're waiting for the validator to activate, you're yielding from kETH, and you can put that into k² as well to make yield. Obviously, when the validator activates in 30 days, you're going to be boosted from there as well. So you can see how when you compose all these different strategies, you're able to take advantage of Ethereum yield. So you might be wondering, kETH, k², where do I get involved? Where do I start looking at things? So you can play around with the dApp, getketh.com. I think it's just dApp.getketh.com. If you want to actually see the k² codes, k² is we've only just we're sort of revealing it here today. So if you go to that GitHub link, you'll be able to see k² and how you'll be able to lend your kETH, generate additional revenue, even when the activation queue is really big. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Pardon? Thanks. Please.
Community member encouraged to add features like they did for the kHOLE, like from the moment they do, they get something in return?
Yeah.
Everybody's encouraged to build on top. We'll share the code.
If I get the questions correctly, are you going to get some incentive to do it? Yeah, that's correct. So the community members currently go to the BSN DAO as this code, and then you can put this proposal. So a couple of community members actually put their bribe market for levels, and they got the tokens. Similarly, the kHOLE is also it's another proposal that's a community member is doing it. If you want to do compound staking or any other feature you want to add it to any protocols, you can seek the grant from the DAO, and then the DAO will immediately, there's a grant council. It's pretty fast and pretty fluid process, and it gives the grant to you. One thing on the compound, you can deposit any LSTs like STETH or RETH and immediately deposit, the compound staking protocol can deposit directly to the kETH deposit and get the kETH, so you can even speed run that 16 hours too, because the kETH will do the strategy for you to do the direct deposit.
I missed that trick. I missed that trick.
So you don't really have to wait for 16 hours. You can do that directly if you're doing it, but you simply get your STETH and your protocol, the compound staking protocol, you just put it into kETH. Immediately you will start earning the benchmark yield. And you can redeem it. kETH, anytime you can redeem it to ETH. You don't really have to worry about liquidity. You don't really have to worry about the peg, because you're going to get the ETH back.
Yielding in, what, 12 seconds?
Yeah, basically, yeah.